Good evening, everybody. Would you all please rise and join us in pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Please let the record reflect that all board members, with the exception of Mrs. LaRosa, are present. Okay. Oh, yes. Just want to announce that at the in between our meetings, at the end of our last planning session, we voted to appoint Mr. Sean McAlevey, the new director of security. So.
He is.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations, welcome. We wish you a long and prosperous career.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, are there any members of the public wishing to speak on an agenda item? Thank you very much. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes of the October 20, 2020 planning session?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Recognition. Mrs. Burns.
Going to join me, Mr. Keller? Association of School Administrators, and Mr. Albinder, who is the Vice President, if they would join us up here on stage.
Everybody brought a sweater. I like it cold, but this is cold.
Just want you to know I put on heels for the occasion. Joy, come on over here. So this month we honor the dedicated service of our administrative team, our principals, directors, assistant principals, and assistant directors. This is my 8th opportunity to recognize the members of WIASA, the West Islip Association of School Administrators. Over these last 8 years, we've explored many opportunities together and met many challenges with confidence, professionalism, grace, and patience. Never has this been more apparent than this year. A year fraught with circumstances and situations that are unlike any that have preceded. Tonight, I would like to take this occasion, on behalf of the district and personally, to thank our administrators for their extraordinary leadership and passion, and applaud their commitment to the children of West Islip. On behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to present Mr. O'Farrell and Mr. Albinder with the certificate that Mr. Geller holds in recognition of the dedicated service of the administrative team to our West Islip learning community. Mrs. Fulton? I'm doing it. Okay.
Yes, I can. Okay. There we go. Probably easier than that. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I'd like to invite Mrs. Fulton, who is our Director of Instructional and Informational Technology, and Mr. Maniscalco, our Principal at Oakenock Elementary School, and Mr. Compitello, our Board Trustee, to join us here, representing our veterans in the community. So as you know, Veterans Day is a time to honor all the brave men and women among us who serve to protect our country and our liberties. While we can never fully understand their sacrifice or repay their service, we can honor them and be thankful for them. On Veterans Day, which we observed yesterday, we do remember them and we express our gratitude for what they have done. Tonight, we'd like to acknowledge members of our learning community who have served, but due to the COVID limitation, we've only asked a few of them to join us. But our gratitude is extended to Joe Amering, Mike Fannin, Joe Finn, Tom McLaughlin, Vicki Wolf, and Mike Zito, as well as Board Trustee and retired teacher Tom Compitello, and administrators Rihanna Fulton and Jack Maniscalco. Thank you for your service and for the freedoms that you've guaranteed all of our citizens. Mr. Geller, I know you have a few words.
I do. So of course, Veterans Day was yesterday, and ordinarily we would have started off with a recognition or a moment of silence and thanks and prayer for all those that have served and all those that continue to serve. I held off, of course, knowing that we were going to recognize these three specifically, but as Mrs. Burns said, all the veterans in the community at large. I had wanted to ask some representatives of the American Legion to come down tonight, but with COVID and everything, we'll hold off on that for next year. So we did ask these three, Mrs. Fulton, Mr. Maniscalco, and Mr. Compitello, to stand with us this evening. Mrs. Fulton, who is our Director of Instructional and Informational Technology, served in the U.S. Navy from 98 to 2003, and then the Navy Reserves from 2006 to 2009. She earned the rank of Petty Officer Second Class. She served in Guantanamo Bay, where she earned the Junior Sailor of the Year, and in the Middle East during Operation Southern Watch and Operation Iraqi Freedom, where she earned the Enlisted Service Warfare Specialist pin. Thank you, Mrs. Mr. Maniscalco, who of course is our principal of Oakwood Elementary School, retired from the U.S. Air Force, served at 22 years as a master, earning the rank of Master Sergeant. He took place in 106 Special Operations Combat Search and Rescue. He was with the NASA Space Shuttle Rescue Team. He is a veteran of the Cold War, the Persian Gulf War, and the Iraq War. Thank you, Mr. Maniscalco. All right, you're going to have to be a little patient on this one. Okay. Mr. Compitello, in addition to being, as you may all know, a retired teacher from West Islip, Social Studies, was in the United States Navy, retired after 22 years as a lieutenant commander. Since he put this together, and only he would include his unit awards in addition to his personal awards, I'm going to include them. Okay, his unit awards earned Joint Meritorious Unit Award and 2 Navy Unit Meritorious Unit Commendations. Personally, earned Meritorious Service Medal, a Navy Commendation Medal, 3 Navy Achievement Medals, the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, 2 National Defense Medals, 3 Navy Rifle Expert Medals, 3 Navy Pistol Expert Medals, 4 Overseas Service Ribbons, and 5 Sea Service Deployment Parties. Mr. Compitello, thank you, all 3 of you and everyone else. On behalf of the board and the community, we thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you.
Take a picture. Wait, that's a picture. Brian's got the picture. Hey, you got it, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Personnel, Mr. Chandler.
Yes. May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the FEPSLA for Jennifer Colonna, World Languages, effective October 15, 2020 to October 28, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the Federal Emergency Paid Sick Leave for Heather Enright, English, effective October 19, 2020 to October 21st, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the FEPSLA for Ryan Foley, Special Education, effective October 20th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the FEPSLA for Josephine Hassett, Physical Education, effective October 19th, 2020 to October 23rd, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the FEPSLA for Siobhan Kelly, English, effective November 2nd, 2020 to November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of leave of absence pursuant to the FEPSLA for Nancy Silvestrini, Family Consumer Science, effective October 20th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence for Amanda Sparrow, Guidance, effective November 16th, 2020 to December 1st, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resignation of Mary Cameron, Building Aide, effective January 3rd, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have the approval of the resignation of Sue Jordan, part-time food service worker, effective November 12th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the probationary appointment of Mary Cameron, contingent office assistant, effective January 4th, 2021 to March 26th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of Kimberly Kreitz, cafeteria aide, effective November 9th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of Christina Curley, special education aide, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the probationary appointment of Elizabeth Jardaliza, part-time food service worker, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the probationary appointment of Sue Jordan, health office aide, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
For this next one, I have a change to the effective date that I will read correctly into the minutes. May I have a motion for the probationary appointment of James McPhail, bus driver, effective November 30th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the probationary appointment of owner Oz Tamerlink, network and systems technician, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the change in title for Lorraine Clark to senior account clerk, effective January 4th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the change in title for Ruth Minio, senior office assistant, effective January 4th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the change in title for Richard Ogburn, custodial worker 3, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the leave of absence pursuant to the EFMLEA for Mary Perez, cafeteria aide, effective November 2nd, 2020 to December 23rd, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of substitute custodian Yume Guo, effective November 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of substitute teacher Jay Lawrence, effective November 6th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of mentor Robin Caputo?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of Jake Meyerson as a homebound instructor effective November 13, 2020?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the intramural staff as listed on the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Well, thank you.
And Mrs. Morrison will give us the curriculum update.
Good evening, everybody. Superintendent's Conference Day took place on Tuesday, November 3rd. Throughout the course of the day, staff members took part in 3 self-selected Ed Camp style professional development sessions. Each session was followed by time for staff members to put into practice what they learned. 17 session topics were available for staff members to choose from. Session topics included exposure to new technology platforms, information related to effective instructional practices in the virtual and COVID-19 classroom environment, curriculum building with technology, and many others. We were very fortunate to have 31 teachers and administrators facilitate these sessions, so I would like to extend a grateful appreciation to those teachers and administrators. We are extremely fortunate to have such talented colleagues in the district from which we can learn. A survey in regard to the day was sent to all staff members, and feedback gleaned from the survey will be utilized to plan additional PD sessions going forward. 2 90-minute virtual parent workshops have been scheduled for Mission B to provide parents throughout the community with an array of tools to reduce their own stress and the stress within their homes. We realize that everyone is going through a very difficult time right now. So we scheduled these workshops. The elementary workshop is scheduled for Tuesday, December 1st from 6:30 to 7:45. The secondary workshop is scheduled on Tuesday, December 8th from 6:30 to 7:45. Parents will be notified of the workshops via Parent Square in the coming weeks. K through 5 parents and guardians are going to be invited to join a virtual informational session on Google Classroom from 7:30 to 8:30 on November 18th. An overview of what Google Classroom is and how students are using it in the classroom and at home will be provided. Parents were notified of this workshop last week via Parent Square. Noteworthy news from the building. We have some wonderful, wonderful things going on in our buildings. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Manitowoc Elementary School for recently being awarded the New York State Regional Park Award for Suffolk County for the 1920 school year. The collective efforts of the school's PTA, faculty, staff, and students made Camp Manitowoc a park experience to be remembered. The school was transformed into a campground for the duration of park, and students participated in assemblies, literacy activities, and STEM explorations. There are some pictures on the district website of what the building looked like. It does look amazing, so please make sure to check it out. Congratulations to Manitowoc. School counselors at Beach Street Middle School are pushing into 6th grade classes this week and next week to discuss, promote, and engage students in growth mindset lessons and activities. Student engineers at Okonock recently designed catapults to launch Halloween candy, marshmallows, and candy pumpkins outside for a fun, socially distanced learning experience. The engineering department at the high school continues to explore ways to utilize the new equipment in our engineering labs. They recently explored and created prototypes for West Islip branded floor drains. As Mr. Bonomo, the teacher of engineering technology, said, it's all about inspiring the next generation of designers and engineers. Great job, high school engineering department. I don't know if any of you, if you go to Disney or if you go to certain cities that have fancy drain covers. So this engineering technology department created drain covers for West Islip that say West Islip on them. It was a really great experience for the kids and will look very nice in the building. Congratulations to West Islip High School freshman Sophia Stecklick, who was recently selected as the winner for the 2020 NYSSMA Young Composers Honors Concert. Her jazz septet entitled The Day After Yesterday will be featured at the NYSSMA Cyber Summit taking place in early December. Sophia is a talented percussionist who has previously been selected for many accolades involving electronic and instrumental compositions beginning in the 3rd grade. The guidance department, social worker, librarian, and administrative team at Udall Road Middle School collaborated to create advisory lessons for students to partake in upon their arrival to school each day. Each day has a different theme: Mindfulness Mondays, TED Talk Tuesdays, Attitude Wednesdays, Who is Behind the Mask Thursdays, and Feel Good Fridays. Great things are happening in all of our 7 buildings. Thank you to the administrators, teachers, staff, and students for all of their hard work. Thank you, Mr. Geller.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrison. Mr. Antonello will discuss the meeting of the Education Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. The Education Committee met on Tuesday, November 10th at 7 p.m. at Beach Street Middle School. People in attendance included myself, Mrs. Burns, Mrs. LaRosa, Mr. McGann, Mrs. Morrison, Mr. McGinnis, Mr. Geller, Mr. Compatello, Mr. Tussey, Mrs. Bellotti, and Mr. Taylor. The first topic discussed was the return of the high school students on Wednesdays. The district added Wednesdays for the high school students to return in person. This began October 21st. The teachers and administrators made the necessary adjustments. There have been some discussions about returning to school full-time. There was one question from the community concerning a rumor that the schools will be shut down after Thanksgiving until Christmas. That's not true. The second thing discussed was the January 2021 Regents exam. The Regents exams for January have been canceled. New York State will come up with criteria in its place. There's no word yet on the status of the exams for June 2021. The third item discussed was the CTE program approval by NYSED. Courses like early childhood education, business management, marketing and accounting, and finance were approved. In some cases, the students can use the exam for these courses to replace their Regents. The fourth item discussed was curriculum course proposals for the 2021-2022 school year. These programs must be submitted by December 15th. The fifth item discussed was the end of the first marketing quarter and at the end of the trimester. The first quarter or trimester is coming to a close. September was a time for welcoming the kids back and helping them to adjust. The hope is to go deeper into curriculum in the months ahead. The teachers have been aware of addressing learning gaps using RTI and AgesWeb. Kids will be tested again in January. Mrs. Morrison reported that comparing data from the last 2 years, basic skills of the students have remained intact. The only gap is in kindergarten to first grade, and that's being remedied. In the high school, the only concerns are students not attending virtually or submitting work, but teachers are reaching out to those students to get them to log in. The meeting ended at 7:20.
Thank you, Mr. Antonello. And Mr. McGinnis will discuss the meeting of the Finance Committee.
Thank you. The committee met on November 10th. Committee members present were Anne Marie LaRosa, Peter McCann, and myself. Other board members in attendance: Steve Geller, Richard Antonello, Tom Campobello, and Anthony Tussey. Administrators present: Superintendent Burns, Lisa Bellotti, the Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dawn Morrison, the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Brian Keller, the Executive Director of Human Resources. The purpose of the meeting, as always, to review the warrants for the month and discuss pertinent fiscal matters. The meeting was called to order at 7:10 p.m. We reviewed the treasurer's reports for the school district funds and the extracurricular funds for September. They were presented and accepted by the committee. The payroll summary report for October presented and accepted by the committee. The financial statements for September were presented and accepted by the committee. The internal claims order report and the system manager audit trail report for the month of October was presented and accepted by the committee, as were the payroll certifications for October 16th and October 30th, 2020. The warrants were reviewed by the Finance Committee independently. We reviewed the following board agenda finance items. The approval of budget transfers was presented and accepted by the committee for submission to the board tonight. The approval of surplus equipment for Oakland, 14 music stands, Beach Street, a technology tabletop drill, and miscellaneous IT and AV equipment. We had discussed the approval of the following resolutions: a donation from Mrs. Brown for a MakerBot 3D printer and filming rollers with a value of approximately $600. A donation from Ahold for $1,157.33 for manufacturing, a corresponding increase to the 2020-2021 procedures report dated October 6, 2020 from our auditors, Cullen and Danowski, as well as the corrective action plan in response to the internal auditors agreed upon procedures report dated October 6, 2020, and the district's corrective action plan related to the independent auditors report for the year ended June 30, 2020. We presented the approval of Centcar contracts for 2020 to 2021. There was 27 of them listed in the board agenda. The approval of additional special education contracts for 2020 to 2021 for East Islip Union Free School District and Nassau Neuropsychological Services. Approval of change order number 5R for Laser Industries, the amount of $14,469.49. And the approval of a resolution for BOCES multi-year service agreement for copiers. We had a couple of discussion items. We discussed the renewal of the lease with BOCES for 2 classrooms at Paul J. Blue Elementary School. The lease will be renewed for an additional 2-year term, and the increase will be in line with the consumer price index. We also had a discussion regarding bus patrol, who will be installing all of the stop arm cameras on both district and Suffolk Transportation buses. Bus Patrol is now also offering free of charge to install and operate and maintain internal cameras on all the buses. The district's legal counsel has reviewed the agreement and will inquire about the company's if the company will sign the data privacy agreement. Meeting was adjourned at 7:30.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. Mr. McCann will discuss the meeting of the Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. The Building and Ground Committee met on Tuesday, November 10th at 7:45 p.m. Members in attendance were all Board of Ed members, along with administrators Ms. Burns, Mrs. Morrison, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Bossi, and Ms. Pilati. We reviewed a lot of what was on the bond update, which is working, which has been ongoing for several years. Some of the projects that are there are the bathrooms are being finalized. The second bathroom at the high school is in the works, and I think that's been probably closed since I've been here 35 years ago. So that's good. That's good news. The baby ceilings and lightings are finalized. The new high school door is still delayed because of COVID, but should be there soon. The planetarium was demoed, and the project should be complete by February 1st. All the training and the rooms should be operable by then. The pool is good and ready. The lifeguard class is in session. We do anticipate discussion from the West Islip Swim Club today about that. Right now, the only class that we have in session there is the lifeguard class. The blinds and all are moving along. 4 buildings were done. We're replacing all the blinds in the classrooms first, and then all the administrative buildings will be part of a second phase. There's a new air conditioning in the district for the IT group. We've got the Udall Family Center rooms are almost complete. We did talk about an extension for our contracting group, the SCC, to extend that contract as the bond work is still ongoing. We also discussed permits for the upcoming season. We did open up permits for outside groups, sporting groups, as long as they follow the outside COVID regulations as dictated by the state and the school districts. We have permits out there for several groups at this time, and we're analyzing the permits for the next season. The meeting ended at 8 p.m., and that was the building grounds.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Mr. Compitello will discuss the meeting of the Special Education Committee.
The Special Education Committee met this morning at 8:30. Members present were Ms. Fallon, Ms. Morrison, Ms. Doherty, Mr. McGinnis, and myself. We reviewed the special ed services available across the district, and all appears to be going well right now on the team. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Compitello. Mr. McGinnis will discuss the meeting of the Audit Committee.
Thank you. The audit committee met on October 20th in the Beach Street Middle School Library. All committee members were present. The meeting began at 7:35 p.m. We met with our internal auditors, R.S. Abrams. We reviewed the district financial statements, discussed the various reserves the district has. They reviewed the district's internal controls. They had an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, so it was excellent news. All but one recommendation from prior years were implemented, and we reviewed a corrective action plan for some recommendations, new recommendations to strengthen controls. The meeting ended at 7:55 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. And Mr. McCann will round it off with the Health and Wellness Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. The Health and Wellness Committee met on October 20th. We reviewed the financial report. Members present were Mr. Haran, Mrs. Pratt, Mrs. Canestra, Mrs. Howe, Mrs. Henke, Mr. Giolowski, Mrs. Marshall, Ms. Summers, Mrs. Sorrow, myself, Mr. McKay, and Mrs. Newsom. We talked about the color run that was held on October 18th. It was a virtual color run. We had a great reception for that. We sold shirts, we sold color packets, and community members were advised to do projects at home and send in videos and pictures. It really was received well in the age of COVID. We were still able to get it in and raise some nice money and raise awareness and have an enjoyable day that day. We were exploring the cyber safety presentation, we're exploring dates for a virtual presentation on that. We acknowledge that West Isaac Breast Cancer Awareness Day was Friday, October 23rd. We encouraged the staff to donate $5 to wear jeans and pink clothing that time, and that was a big success. We got a newsletter in the works, and we're reviewing articles for that. Some of the upcoming projects we're looking at bringing in Kevin Alter for the Addicts Diary presentation, and the possibility of a Department of Health representative speaking about COVID-19 and the procedures of how schools closed, why schools closed, and the quarantine procedures. We feel that's a good project that maybe educate us all. Our next meeting is Tuesday, November 17th at 10 a.m. virtually, and the meeting adjourned at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Mrs. Pilati will discuss financial matters and business items.
Thank you. The treasurer's report for the month of September had a beginning balance of $66,431,986.32 and an ending balance of $55,979,584.81. May I have a motion for the approval of budget transfers 3961 through 3981 for the general fund and 3962 through 3978 for the capital fund?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the 2020-21 contracts as listed on the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the change order for Laser Industries in the amount of $14,469.49?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resolution related to the BOCES multi-year service agreement for Xerox copiers?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resolution for the receipt of the agreed-upon procedures report dated October 6, 2020, from Cullen and Danowski?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resolution related to the corrective action plan in response to our internal auditor's agreed-upon procedures report dated October 6, 2020?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the corrective action plan in response to the independent auditor's report for the year ended June 30th, 2020?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the donation from Ms. Deborah Brown for a MakerBot 3D 5th generation printer and the filament rolls, valued in the amount of $600 for the West Islip High School?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the donation from Ahold Delhaize USA in the amount of $1,157.33 for the Manatuck Elementary School?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the increase to the 2020-21 budget for $1,157.33?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the surplus items as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the 27 said park contracts for 2020-21 that are listed on the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bellotti. Can I have a motion for the approval of notice of the special district meeting, which is the 119 vote on the Saracen?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for approval of the MOA with Wyassa regarding additional days?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for the approval of the 2020-2021 goals and objectives?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Mrs. Burns?
Thank you, Mr. Geller. So today and tomorrow are the official ceremonies for the awarding of the 2020 Blue Ribbon, which the high school earned this year. We will be celebrating that achievement during the recognition section of our December board meeting. So we're looking forward to that. On November 19th, a week from tonight, we are presenting in collaboration with Good Samaritan Hospital Medical Center a virtual seminar for parents, students, and faculty on mental and preventative health during the COVID-19 pandemic. We had collaborated with Good Sam around this time last year, maybe it was in the spring even, and it was a very well-received, at that time it was in person, but it was a very well-received opportunity for everybody in our community. So I would encourage you, if you can attend, please do so. It's completely virtual. The information will be posted on the website tomorrow, but those of you that have a connection to the district have already received the information in the form of a Parent Square message. So I encourage you to join us that evening. And in the interest of supporting everybody as it relates to the pandemic, we are offering 2 mindfulness sessions in December. They will be finalized shortly, and we will be sending that information home to all of our parents within the next week or so. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Anybody have anything else? All right, Mr. Kern?
Anthony's gonna go out with you, right?
I'm sorry?
Anthony's gonna go out with you, right?
All right. So we're gonna get 2 for 1.
2 for 1. Big job.
Nice to see you guys again. So, yeah.
Is that turned on? Okay.
So, we're representing basically West Islip Swim Club, which is the seed program for our West Islip Swim team. And it's totally, the relationship's totally intertwined. And I work for the Veterans Administration. I worked surgery for decades upon decades, including back in the days when I was younger, the intensive care units. When COVID broke out, I was transferred from surgery back to the ICUs. I saw the surge, I saw the consequences of the surge, and I've also seen what happened post-surge and what's been happening since. With proper safety and procedures, I've seen that now working smarter, we can mitigate the consequences of this virus. It's really low right now in the hospital itself. Okay? I've also seen the consequences of withholding this activity and other physical activities for our young people. I've been involved in for 12 years now between Little League and now with the swim club for the past few years. The anxiety and the depression that some of our kids are, have to put up with and adapt to at this point in time. So we offered a plan. I actually witnessed the firsthand that gone to other school districts that have reopened their swim teams and their CE programs, and the consequences, using the right protocols, the right safety measures, they're null, okay? So we're offering up the United States Swimming Association, also following their guidelines, CDC guidelines, training of our staff, our coaches, encouraging parents and the athletes themselves regarding the safety measures, precautions, questions within which each session, I see that at Farmingdale, for instance, and they have had no COVID to be reported being brought through that club. Okay, so we're asking in the near term that we can reopen and be a part of the community once again in a swimming hospital.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Mr. Attorney, you speak to?
Yes, I'd just like to add that we sent this plan to Mr. Bossi's office. We'll work with Mr. Bossi on this, whatever we have to do. We're very fortunate here at West Islip that our pool is buried in the valves. It's right by the back door, it's very easy to access. And I asked you to read the plan, and I asked Mr. Bossi to read the plan, and also just consider that the kids are swimming, competition is happening. There was over 350 kids, 40 of them from West Islip this past weekend at the Nassau Aquatic Center. Previous, 2 weeks earlier than that, there was over 400 children swimming. We're swimming at the YMCA. And I think I said this the last time I was here. The unknown is known. And we're not seeing any COVID outbreaks associated with swimming. These children are bathed in the chlorine mist. And just from my daughter, she's a swimmer. She swims year round. And I mean, thank God we're going back to school. But prior to that, these kids were thinking it was fun to see their pajamas still, can I sleep in my pajamas that I wore all day and we go back to school. But the last time I was here, Mr. Burns asked that we put our kids on the buses, that the buses are kind of empty. And I wholeheartedly agree. My daughter's been on the buses since day one. But if my daughter can sit on the bus in a mask and go to school, she can certainly swim in the pool that's covered with chlorine, following protocols where people are not, there's not the one documentation of COVID. And I know this is a work in progress, and I just ask you to work with us and hopefully get this kid back in the pool. And again, we'll follow Mr. Bossy's office. Thank you.
Thank you both. So I just want to point out, as I'm sure you know, realize that we, of course, all share your concerns about the kids not being active and not having these outlets for socialization, as well as their energies and things of that nature. Most of, or if not all of us, have actually been coaches, still coaches. So it's certainly something concerns we share with you. As I think you know, to date, we have not. We just recently opened, as Mr. McCann said, we just recently opened up outside. We just recently opened up our outside fields for groups to use. To date, we have not opened up the indoor spaces for any groups. That said, we will certainly review the plan you've put together, and we will give it due consideration. Absolutely. We'll look at it. Thank you both. Okay. And I have a motion to adjourn to executive session where we will discuss personnel, negotiations, and litigation. At the conclusion of executive session, the board will reconvene the public session in the district office boardroom to consider any items for which a vote is required. So moved. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.